Morning, everybody. Um, Happy Wednesday morning. Trying to figure out what day I'm on. I want to talk today about a few things, if my phone will work right, that are misconceptions with, wow, why is nothing working right? All right, we're going to go without it. So I want to talk about a few things that are causing issues ooh, in our weight loss or in our insulin resistance journey, and that's fat, exercise, and calories. So let's get my world together here, and then we'll dive in. For whatever reason, this isn't working on TikTok like it should, and that's crazy. So I might have to mirror this. Huh. I don't like that at all. Okay, well, here we go. So it's fat, exercise, and calories are always talked about with insulin resistance. So let's deal with fat. Number one, you guys, if you have excess weight, if you're overweight, that doesn't necessarily make you sick. Now, if you're morbidly obese, then there's other issues with that, right? But do you know that somebody who's extremely thin can be even more insulin resistant than somebody who's a bit obese? And a person who's a bit obese may not show signs of insulin resistance at all, and it's normal. So there is fat issues in the body where some people just create more fat genetically than others. And I usually talk about insulin resistance as an energy storage hormone. The end place it storms, hey again from Pakistan, stores excess energy when the other cells won't take it up, is in the fat. But we need to stop looking at whether we're obese or not as the marker of our health. So you can be mildly obese and be more healthy than somebody who's very thin. It's called skinny fat. So when we look at insulin resistance, it used to be said that fat caused insulin resistance, and that's not true. There are tons of studies where they've shown that people who have, in certain areas, who have excess weight have no sign of insulin resistance. So stop thinking of fat as insulin resistance. Now, will you get fatter with insulin resistance? Most people will. Some people will go the opposite direction and start to get extremely thin with insulin resistance. So that's not the marker. That's not the end all be all of whether you're insulin resistant or not, whether you're carrying fat. Or nor should it be an indication of your overall health and whether you're a worthy human being or not. The second one is exercise. So we hear people all the time, and I love to talk about exercise because it helps, right? But where we go wrong is when people think they can out exercise a metabolic disorder. And what I mean by that is just adding extra exercise in to burn excess calories, which we're going to get to in a minute, doesn't cure the problem. So Hashimoto's, if you have Hashimoto's, you're at a higher risk for insulin resistance if you have Hashimoto's. Okay, so know that. We'll go over some of that in a minute. But yeah, if you have Hashimoto's, let's go over some signs and symptoms this morning, but I want to finish with this exercise and calories bit. And I haven't gone over signs and symptoms in a while, so let's do that today. But you cannot out exercise a bad diet. So even if you're bringing in 1,800 calories and you're dropping that to 1,500 calories and you're exercising your rear off, if you're not getting in the right nutrients and the right macronutrients and micronutrients, it's not going to help just exercising. I was just listening to Dr. Lustig talk about, there was a triathlete who ended up with diabetes. Now he was working, triathletes work out hard. So he was working out a lot. He still couldn't outrun the fact that he was drinking sports drinks and energy drinks and all of that all the time. And it ended up landing him in diabetes. And he now does a keto diet and has managed his diabetes. But he wasn't a lazy person eating bad food. He was an extremely active, more active than most of us person, and he still got diabetes because he couldn't out exercise the fact that he was eating the wrong foods. So exercise alone is not going to fix you. So when all these people are like, oh, just exercise more, that's going to reverse it. No, it doesn't. If you don't address the root cause, it's not going to fix that problem. And then we get down to calories. Yay, it's showing up now. Maybe we can get this up here now. Oh, not that one, that one. Okay. So, calories. How many of you guys have heard calories in, calories out, count your calories, drop your calories, do whatever to try and manage your insulin resistance? Or like one of my favorite ones, it's a gal I talk about all the time. She teaches people to eat smaller meals and drop their calories, and she encourages them to not eat as many fats because that's higher in calories, but eat, add in things like bread or whatever. How many of you guys, if you've heard this, that calorie counting is the way to fix this? Put in a 1 if you've heard that, because that's been taught to us for a long, long time, and I bought into that. I used to put every bite of food in a nutrition tracker, partly because I was tracking my macronutrients, trying to make sure I got enough protein in. For those purposes, I have no problem with those trackers. When you're looking at your macronutrients, where is that balance at? How many carbs are you getting in? How much protein are you getting in? That's where I look at it, not as in overall calories. So the truth is, the calories don't matter as much as what makes up the calories. So, Rav did a video the other day where he was talking about a Happy Meal. I talked about this yesterday. And it was like $1,400, not a Happy Meal, a McDonald's meal. He was talking about it having like 1,400 calories in it. And you could cut that in half, and that half a hamburger, half the French fries, half the whatever, would be about 700 calories. You look at that as opposed to 7 or 8 apples, which is also 700 calories. One is going to fill you up and the other's not. Well, I don't know many people who could sit down and eat 7 or 8 apples in a sitting and not feel overfull, and yet they could eat a half of a hamburger meal from McDonald's and still feel ravenously full, ravenously hungry. So those calories do matter. The nutrients packed behind the calories and all of that matter. But calorie counting alone is not going to fix the issue. What we need to pay attention to is what is actually making up those calories. So the idea that a person who had eggs and some other kind of protein, meat protein, and some avocado for breakfast should ditch the avocado and have a piece of toast instead to reduce the calories is exactly the opposite of what we need to do. We need to limit those carbohydrates like the bread, not worry as much about the calories within reason, and make sure we're focusing on fiber, protein, and fats. Stop all the calorie counting. There's been so much science coming out about how calorie counting is flawed. Number one, they really can't determine that. So you may think you're getting in 1,800 calories and maybe you're only getting in 1,500, or you may think you're getting in 1,800 and you're getting in 2,000 or 2,200. And that could vary day by day depending on the food you're eating and whether you're a little bit over or a little bit under. Calorie counting does not work. And more science and more metabolic scientists are coming out saying that. Now, I said exercise won't fix the problem on its own, right? Interesting thing is, exercise, the extra expenditure, does allow you to eat a little bit more of the healthier foods and still get healthier. Avocado and egg is so much better than a piece of bread. I have the little, not holy guacamole, but it's holy avocado. I have them in the little cups in my fridge because I'm not really great at cutting avocados. I never grew up with them, but that's my go-to fat when I need to add fat to anything. In fact, the other day I made a morning shake because I'm trying to up my protein as in an effort to help my metabolism even more. And I made a shake. Oh, I got to get that book out to everybody. But it had spinach in it. It had avocado in it. And my grandson, my 7-year-old grandson's looking at me like, what is that, Nana? And I'm like, that's my breakfast, buddy. And it had about 40 grams of protein, but it had that good healthy dose of avocado, some whole whipping cream, some, not a lot. And it was an amazing, amazing breakfast. I added a little peppermint extract to it, so it's nice and green, not tasting all the other stuff. And it was a delicious breakfast, high in protein, high in fats, very low in carbs. Kept me full for hours because it had fats in it. Protein shakes, when you're drinking them, oftentimes aren't keeping you full because the protein is already pre-digested and you're not adding fats to it. So if you will add some healthy fats to those, you'll find that you'll stay satiated much longer, keep your glucose levels down much better, and just have a better go at reversing all of this issue. So understand that your fat or the fat you eat is not an indicator of your health. I am going to talk about those fats though, right? Because there are fats that I recommend and fats that I don't. It's been probably about 2 weeks now. I did a couple of videos on seed oils and vegetable oils and why I don't like them. One of them is because they produce this thing called linoleic acid in the body, which can cause inflammation and therefore exacerbate your insulin resistance. The other is because they're drenched in hexane, a highly toxic solvent, to extract the oils out of those products. So the good test is this. If you can squeeze it and get oil out of it, that's probably a good source of oil or fat for you. If you can't, then maybe not. Okay, so I don't have any of those seed oils or any of that in my house. The only oils I have in my house are extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, and butter. And then I never cut the fats off of meats. I never take the yolks out of eggs. My cholesterol panel is fantastic. My A1C is at 5.3. My blood sugars are right around 100 every morning. I have a little bit of dawn phenomenon going on, but my numbers are all great because I manage my sugars and eat the oils. I love avocado oil. I just don't have it in my house. So the oils I recommend are avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, and then your animal fats. So those would be the fats to use. And stay away from the others. My kids know better than to let me come into their house and find those other oils in their house because mama will throw a fit because they're so bad for you. In fact, I didn't realize how bad they are till I lost my gallbladder, until I became more insulin sensitive and got off of those. But now if I go out and eat something that has those types of oils in it, I get sick right away. Oftentimes I'll have a really bad gastritis flare. I'll have IBS come back. I'll have body aches and pains. I'll have migraines maybe come back. It's not the sugar in that case. It's those seed oils and all the negative proponents and all the negative actions that can happen when you eat seed oils. That's why I don't like them, because I feel the difference in my body. And going with, I just don't, I love avocado oil. I just don't have it in my house because I don't cook in oil a lot. And when I do, it's generally butter. Um, okay, so somebody asked, what was it? Hashimoto's. Let's talk about that a little bit. One doctor I listened to and was brilliant, and I was so happy to hear him say it, says that he feels that almost all autoimmune disease starts in the gut. So in his estimation and his studies, autoimmune disease, sorry, I'm still a bit sick. Autoimmune disease starts with an imbalanced gut. And so when that gut is imbalanced and inflamed, it starts leaching that inflammation and disease out to every other organ in the body. So internally, your gut, your intestinal system, is the largest organ in your body. And when it's sick, every other organ tends to get sick. With Hashimoto's, you're having a problem with thyroid regulation. So with the autoimmune, you're having too much thyroid, and your body thinks that your thyroid is the problem. So it's attacking your thyroid, and your thyroid levels could be all over the place. But it could be linked to inflammation in the gut. And we've had a number of people who do the system that I do who've had Hashimoto's. I had Hashimoto's. It's now, my thyroid levels are all clinically normal, but we still feel like they're a little bit low. I'm going to be working with a doctor. You guys, I keep talking about it. Next Tuesday night, I'll be having him on. We're going to talk about some of these extra things, right? And how the system helps with insulin resistance, all things insulin resistance, but Hashimoto's. So when you have insulin resistance, you're having some inflammation in your gut. I keep wanting to go to immune cells because I just want to say this. 70% of your immune cells are stored in your gut. And if your gut's sick, those immune cells don't work well. I got sick because I was getting 2 hours of sleep a night and doing way too much in the day for a 60-year-old body and not getting in enough nutrients. And it was a stressful time, hot, cold as well. But normally I don't get sick. So Hashimoto's, though, when your gut's sick, it's having this dysregulation of thyroid hormones. Your body's attacking your thyroid. When we can get all of that leveled out and your body's not having this dysregulation anymore, that autoimmune piece starts to drop away where your body's not attacking your own thyroid because it doesn't perceive that there's too much or too little, too much often of the thyroid hormone in your system. Regardless, we have a number of people with Hashimoto's who have gotten better and reversed their symptoms, including like the brain fog, the body aches and pains. The Hashimoto symptoms are so parallel to insulin resistance, and the inability to lose weight and the brain fog that all come with Hashimoto's. It's difficult sometimes because instead of looking at insulin resistance, doctors are looking at every one of these things, trying to pinpoint what's going on. And insulin resistance mirrors a lot of the symptoms of these things because most often insulin resistance is the root cause of most of those things. Wow. This thing in my chest has got to go. Okay. Does liquid dihydrogen oxide help the gut? I am not well versed on that, so I couldn't tell you. What I will tell you is that what's happening with most of us, why we're having gut issues, is because we've stripped fiber out of our food. Fiber acts as a prebiotic. It feeds those probiotics. Sugar feeds those negative microbiota in the gut. Fiber feeds what we term as the healthier microbiota in the gut. So when we're having more sugar and not enough fiber, of course we're going to have an imbalance because we're dumping more sugar in, less fiber. Now the negative gut microbiome is taking over. Things like yeast are running rampant. You're having itchy skin and you're having skin lesions and all of that stuff go on. A number of other things can happen. But the good microbiome is suffering because we are not getting in enough fiber. So if we look at that and understand at the root, what we need to do is limit the sugar and probably increase our fiber. That would take care of it. It interests me because you guys, I was there too. For years, I was taking, when I was a world champion athlete, I sat down one day and I just mapped out everything that I was taking in a day to help my telomeres, to help my mitochondria, to help this, to help that, to help my aging and my muscle regeneration. And it was like $500 a month in all these weird things that I was taking. Well, had I known back then, yes, there's still some things that I think are healthy for an older person like myself to take. But at the root, if we can address the excess sugar and the lack of fiber, a lot of those things don't need to happen. We're looking for these little minute little fixes to give us an answer, something that's exotic and new and different, when the reality is what we need to do is just get more fiber in and regulate the sugar. Like I hear about berberine all the time. I'm not an expert on berberine either. I don't need it. My diet is very well maintained just by making sure that I'm managing my sugars and getting in the right amounts of fiber in my diet. Simple, easy. I'm not taking 10 different things. That's it. You had heartburn and GERD for 5 years. You had lemon, ginger, apple cider vinegar. Those all can help for sure. Okay, so Kiki, we had this discussion yesterday, not you, somebody else. You have a sugar spike during fasting. Let's get to all these questions. I want to deal with the fiber one first. If you're having problems with fiber, there's two things that are probably occurring. You're probably relying on a supplement like this, right? That's primarily psyllium husk. Psyllium husk can be beneficial, but when that's the fiber that you're supplementing with and you're overloading your body, it becomes like an abrasive broom in your gut, and it's tearing up your gut, causing inflammation in there and bloating. So you want a variety of fibers, and that will help that. But if you're relying on psyllium husk alone, that's part of the problem. Number two is that you're not used to having in the right amounts of fiber, the right kinds of fiber. And so, of course, your gut's not used to working with fiber because it's been stripped out of our foods since like the 1980s. And we just are not used to dealing with it. We've got to train our gut to work with fiber, just like we train our muscles for all the other exercises that we do in the gym. So your gut needs to be trained, and you need to be making sure you're getting in the right amounts of fiber, the right kinds of fiber. Like the supplement I use, you guys, what I do for my insulin resistance is a tea in the morning. You see me sipping it now. It also helps my throat, my metabolism, my mood, my energy. It's anti-cancer, antioxidant, all kinds of great things in this one tea that I have every morning. The fiber I use is all contained in this packet. I have it 2 times a day or every time I eat, really, 10 minutes before I eat. It's 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers. Yes, it's only 4 or 5 grams of fiber, but the kind of fiber makes a difference. I could take 10 or 15 grams of this and still not do the job of this, because this is one type and this is 7 types, and it's been studied for 20 years to have it help with the glucose regulation and the lipid regulation that we talk about. So thank you, Dr. Tiffany. So fiber, what I do with people who have problems with fiber at the beginning, if you're cleared from your doctor from any like major issue going on, then I just start with a partial packet. I had one gal who started with like 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then she gradually increased over a few weeks to where she was taking both of her packets a day, and she was surprised that as she got her gut stronger, everything just started to get better. So why the sugar spike during fasting? Okay, so I would like to know what you're considering a sugar spike. What did your sugars go up to when you were fasting? How long had you been fasting? And then let's talk about something that's really common. Yeah, berberine can work. Um, and chia seeds, I've done all of that, but I never saw a major reduction in my insulin until, in fact, I was on metformin. I was on 10 different medications until I just did this one simple thing, the tea in the morning and the 2 pre-meal drinks. um, I'm working on a cookbook for all the people who have bought the system on subscription. I was trying to have it before December, but I got really before Christmas, but I got really sick. So I'm now aiming for New Year's. But I will do some videos on food. It's really simple, you guys, and we'll make that easier. But the sugar spikes. If you can tell me um, what your sugar spike was and how long you were fasting, let's talk about it because this is important. I had to learn this too. You guys, I'm just a real person like you. I'm just a down home, North Idaho, real person who got really sick and got really better and started learning all this stuff. So I did some extended fasting last spring. I'll probably do some more this spring. I like to do it because I'm almost 60 and my body has a lot of cleanup work to do from years of abuse, right? But what I found was in testing my glucose levels, in testing my ketone levels during a fast. So even during a fast, my sugar levels would rise and fall. It shocked me, but it made sense when I looked at it, right? So our body needs glucose for energy. So if you're having glucose spikes when you're fasting, your body, if it's pulling fat out and using that for energy, it's converting it back into glucose, especially when it's taking glycogen stores from the liver and releasing those back into the body for energy. Now it's going to show up in your bloodstream as glucose. So you're going to have a rise and fall as your body is using up your fat stores and other stores in your body that need to go. It's converting stored stuff back into glucose. So my glucose levels went like this. Even I think it was like days 5 and 6, I really started paying attention to my glucose. more, and I was shocked because my glucose level would drop to about 60. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm in danger zone. But no, I wasn't. I wasn't tired. I wasn't having headaches. I wasn't having chills. I wasn't having any of that. But my glucose level would then, once it hit 60, would start to rise again. And it would go up to about 120. I think once or twice it hit about 150. And then it would fall again. So, yep, gluconeogenesis. So your body is continually cycling through that. So it's going to pull energy stores. Your glucose level is going to go up. Your body's using that glucose for energy. And as it uses it up, your glucose levels are going to drop again down to about that level of 60. And again, without the migraines and all of that, you're safe, according to Dr. Bickman. But then when it hits that level, your body's pretty damn smart when it's not inundated with all this dysregulation we've caused. And then it's going to start to pull more energy, and it's going to release that back into your system, and you're going to see the glucose levels rise. So you should see in a fasted state more of a really nice wave pattern with your glucose levels, where they rise and they fall and they rise and they fall. And that's completely normal. That's a function of your body working like it's supposed to, your metabolism actually working. If your glucose levels fell in a fast and stayed low, well, you're not fat adapted yet, and your body's having troubles knowing when to turn that switch. So you might have to stop the fast early and then try it again and keep those glucose levels or the carbohydrates down in between times. So I hope that helps a little bit. No foot pictures. Okay, can you drink coffee after the tea? You can. And some people do. Most people find that after a time, they just no longer are craving their coffee. Do you guys want, I learned this in Hong Kong. Was it Hong Kong? Yes. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Okay, so coffee. Coffee actually has a little bit of this component that I talk about all the time, chlorogenic acids. That's what you're getting the energy from your coffee, not just the caffeine, but you're getting chlorogenic acids through the brain, and that's giving you that kind of energy and mental clarity that you feel with the coffee. But what happens is there's more caffeine than there is this thing called an adaptogen. And so if you think about somebody walking a tightrope and they drink coffee, the caffeine starts to pull this little balance lever this way. And then you add the chlorogenic acids and it pulls it back a little, but it's just not enough. So now you have that crash from coffee. You have that jittery feeling from coffee. What's different with the tea is the tea has way more of that chlorogenic acid, and so it's helping balance that out. So it's a tiny bit to a good amount, but then it has these other things called adaptogens, called theobromine and mate saponins, that help balance out that caffeine. So now you're having energy, you're having mental clarity, you're having good fat burning, your metabolism is boosting, it's helping you kick out ketones, it's helping you stay satiated because it's acting on a receptor in your gut that says, hey, I'm full. It's acting on a receptor in your brain that's shutting down the hunger hormone. So you're like, I'm just not hungry. The tea does all of that. So if you want to have coffee after you have tea, yeah, you can do that. Just make sure that it's black. If you do a sweetener, it's stevia or monk fruit that doesn't has something that's not going to spike your insulin. And don't be adding those seed oil creamers into it, because that's just going to kick your insulin levels up again by causing inflammation and whatnot in the body. Go back 2 weeks and listen to those videos. Dr. Huberman, I did I always get leptin and ghrelin confused, and I shouldn't. But I did a video on Dr. Huberman on how this acts like a GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide agonist, or it helps that produce in your body. This tea does that naturally in your body, where like Monjaro, Trulicity, and whatnot are forcing your body to do it. This is cueing your body to do that, so you have that satiety and fat burning from the tea. Dr. Huberman says with most Unamate tea or Yerba Mate tea that it's such a small amount that you'll get mild effects. Well, this tea is 375 times stevia, but it does not spike blood sugar levels. Correct, right? So I add stevia to my food when I want something that's got sugar in it. Monk fruit, I'm reading all this new research on monk fruit and how um, it has less side effects than stevia and actually is a little bit sweeter. Um, and I'm not there yet. I'm just starting to read about monk fruit and why it's such a better choice than stevia for some people. Okay, so the name of the tea, you guys, if you want the tea, it's part of a system. It's not just the tea that makes the system work. The tea in the morning is giving me energy. It's helping me through a short fast. So on a normal day, I would fast 16 hours, eat in an 8-hour window. This tea helps shut down the hunger, helps me kick out ketones, helps me burn fat during that time, but it's not just the tea. The other part that's really important, you guys just always see me drinking the tea, is this, the fiber. The fiber that we use is going into your system, and this is what's happening. 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers. Insoluble fibers are those ones that are like a broom in your system. They're like what you find in celery or in bananas, the long stringy fibers. And what they do when they get in your system is they kind of make this matrix that looks like a mesh. But you'll know there's little holes in that mesh and they're coarse. So they can be really hard on the gut in high amounts. Soluble fibers are more gelatinous when they hit water, especially when they hit the enzymes in your gut. So they create this gelatinous ball that then goes in and starts to plug up those holes in that mesh matrix that the soluble fibers made. Now you have this really good prophylactic that's helping slow down the sugar delivery into your system. So it's not just one type of fiber or 2 types of fiber. There's 7 types of fiber in this product because the scientists, including Dr. Bickman, studied it for over 20 years and realized that this was the magic that made it work. They came to this point where these 7 fibers give them the best blood glucose regulation, the best insulin regulation, and that's where the product came about. Then they decided to add in vitamins and minerals that are helping your metabolism and some phytosterols that are helping with cholesterol regulation so it's heart healthy. The tea, by the way, I get people all the time who are afraid because they're like, I have high blood pressure, I can't do caffeine. I felt the same way. When I first started the system, I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? Your blood pressure is out of control and you're drinking this tea, you're gonna cause yourself to have a heart attack. But 6 days in, my blood pressure, which was the best we could get it in a doctor's office, was 150 over 110. And every single day it would spike to about 180 over 150, depending on my stress levels and my fatigue levels. But 6 days on the system, I went in and my doctor had my blood pressure read at 126 over 84. So that did not fully regulate until about a year in. And then it it regulated down to 112 over 74. So you can just go to my profile link. Sorry, I drugged that out. Go to my profile link. The link to buy the product is there. Why do it feels like I gatekeep it sometimes? Because if you go to Amazon, eBay, Walmart, you're not getting it from an authorized distributor. The company's not going to back it with the guarantees of the 90-day money back guarantee. It's not going to back it with the quality guarantee. We found pirated product. We found expired product. Those guys are not authorized. The company cannot tell what happened to that product. When you buy from me, it ships directly from the company. So do I like to give the name out there? No, because what happens is people will run to Amazon, get it, then they'll call me and be like, Misha, I bought the product. You never called me. Well, you bought it from Amazon. I had no idea. It's not working for you. You didn't get coaching. You didn't get product that was real product. You guys, I worked in the skiwear industry for years as a designer, and one of my jobs was to go to Vegas for the trade shows and whatnot. And I had to gatekeep those products because people would come in, take pictures and take measurements and write down the colors and all the stuff. They would go back and reproduce our product and try to mimic it as much as they could. And so there's knockoffs out there. Get off the blood pressure medications. What did I do to get off the blood pressure medications? This is it. I did this tea in the morning, every morning, like I'm doing now. And then I did this 10 minutes before I ate anything. Most days it's just 2 meals, so it's just 2 of these. But like Christmas holidays, we had a little more than, we're grazing a little more, which is not what I recommend, but we do it. We all do it, right? So I just had more of this. If we had dinner and then 2 hours later I wanted to have a piece of cheesecake, I just had another one of these before I had the cheesecake. This is all I did to get off of my blood pressure medications, along with these 6 simple tips. And I'm going to let me see if the link will actually work today. Can you guys see that link I just put in? Let me know if you can see that link. That's where you're going to go to order it. So that's all I did, you guys, was that tea and the pre-meal drink. And my blood pressure is now 112/74 every morning. Okay, so we're going to go this way. Sometimes TikTok lets me slide, and sometimes it's like, not today, Misha. All right, so to get to it, you guys, you're going to click on my profile picture up above. There's going to be a picture come up down below, and this is for TikTok. On Facebook, YouTube, I just put the link in for you guys. But when you get to the box down below, you're going to see you're going to see this. You're going to find my profile, right? There's my picture, my name. Right under these red lights, there's this link. Click on that link. That's going to take you to my landing page. On the landing page, the very top option is where you're going to find the system. Just click on that. It will take you right to the company website. It's going to link you to me. The company's going to notify me that you purchased. I'm going to be able to send you text and information, and we're going to be able to have conversations, and I'm going to help you through this as much or as little as you want. So it needs to say Michelle Fayant. That's my given name at the top. And then you're just going to click on the buy now. And that will take you to the order page. So there's the tea and there's the pre-meal drink. Right now we have it in this great berry flavor. So get that while you can. I've heard they're going to discontinue it after December. It's a limited edition. The pre-meal drink right now comes either in the berry or a light orange flavor. The light orange tastes like creamsicle. And then you can get the tea in 3 different flavors: lemon, ginger, lemon, or black. Now we call it lemon because that's the flavor it has, but it doesn't have any lemon in it. So if you have a citrus problem, it's okay. There's no citrus in that. In the orange, there is a little bit, but so get the mixed berry. But if you buy it on a one-time purchase, it is about $159 a month. If you do the subscription, you're going to save $5 a month. So you're going to get it for $5 off, and you're going to get free delivery, and you can cancel that at any time. So that's going to save you about $15 overall. It ends up being about $5 a day. What else here? So that's where you're going to get it. You guys just make sure you're using the link, and that when you purchase it, you see the name of the company up top, so that you know that you're getting that 90-day money-back guarantee, satisfaction guarantee. You're getting the quality guarantee. That means it's been triple tested, so that you know that you're getting the right product with the right efficacy every time. And you're getting the low price guarantee. You're not going to get it cheaper on Amazon, Walmart, or eBay. Everybody who says, oh, I found it cheaper there, when we look into it, they ended up spending about $100 more than they needed to, because it's just how they do on Amazon, eBay. They make it look cheaper, but it's really not. Okay. So let's go back to this. Okay, so I hope that helps you figure out where to get it. And I know it can get complicated. Has anybody used the system in my circle that said they were not happy with it? Yes, there have been. So this is what happens. This is not a one-shot miracle cure, right? So the people who said they weren't happy with it were like, I have a friend who is obese and depressed, and she was doing better. Hey, Jason. But she refused to regulate her glucose, and she was leaning into more keto, and she wasn't doing, and keto is great, but she wasn't doing the system consistently. So she wasn't doing the tea in the morning. She wasn't doing the pre-meal drink twice a day before her first two biggest meals, and she was snacking more. Well, the system can't fix all of that. The system can't fix that. You guys, you have to take some responsibility. The only other people who said that they were unhappy with it were people who thought they were going to lose a ton of weight in 30 days, and they didn't, and they shut it off early. And you know what? There are people who didn't lose weight for 90 days because this is not a weight loss system. This is a reverse your insulin resistance system. And Jason has lost like 160 pounds on the system. He was very, very consistent. He reversed all of his diabetes and all of that when the doctors were trying to pump him full of medications, send him out for surgery. And Jason, were you happy with the system? But he did what he was supposed to do. You guys, if we say cut back on your sugar and you go out and you have donuts for breakfast and a Starbucks coffee, there's nothing that's going to fix that. You have to take some accountability, but it's not hard. Like we had ham and scalloped potatoes and deviled eggs and cherry sauce, and I make my cherry sauce with some stevia in it to cut back on the sugar. Um, and green bean casserole, and my son had Hawaiian rolls. We had all of that for dinner. I don't go without that when my family's having those dinners. Um, Kachava, I'm not really familiar with Kachava. I use Unicity's protein. Um, Again, it was formulated by scientists. So I use our protein. I don't closer to 175 pounds. So in a year and a half, Jason has lost 175 pounds by doing this. A tea in the morning and a pre-meal drink um, before he eats both of his meals. Yeah, Kachava is supposed to be all organic. The type of protein and the amount of protein the matters too. And again, I'm not really versed on Kachava. You guys, I just can't be versed on everything. I have limited brain space, believe it or not. My brain gets like, I'm done. I'm done. I want to go watch some furniture flipping videos or something and give my head a break. But no, I don't know anything about Kachava. Really, I don't. I choose to use our protein. When I was lifting all the time, I really paid attention to make sure that my proteins had a good vitamin profile in it, that it had a good amount of proteins with as little fat, or not fats, carbohydrates as possible. That's what I look for in a protein. Our protein is very fine and it mixes well, so it's not chunky chalky, and it goes down well. I usually use a double dose when I do a protein shake in the morning for myself, because then I'm getting in at 40 grams of protein. So here's the thing with protein powders. I use them too, yes, especially when I'm eating 2 meals a day and I'm supposed to be getting in about a gram of protein per pound of body weight. It's hard for me to get that kind of protein in. So I do supplement with protein sometimes. I try not to. I try to get the bulk of my protein from eggs, chicken, beef, and make sure that that's where my protein is coming from, because your body metabolizes it differently than when it's broken down into a powder. Okay, great, Denise. Yeah, just text me. So when you guys go to that profile link, if you scroll down, there's one place where it says contact me on WhatsApp. Just just download WhatsApp, contact me there. I have people text me all the time, and we can definitely talk. Um, I really want people to get success. This is not just about selling the product for me. This is about helping people. You guys, some days I take a break and I just sit down in tears of gratitude because I have people tell me, their kidney disease was reversed, or they're having children now that they thought they were never going to have, or their blood pressure is better. Like me, they're walking better. Things that they were suffering from years got better, and no one had been able to help them, and the system did. And that's what fills my soul. So yeah, contact me, let's talk, and let's see what we can do to help you out, because the system really does work. You just have to work the system, and it's easy to work the system when you know what to do, okay, and when you understand it. Because as simple as it sounds, everybody's going to have questions. One of the things I request from people is I send them a video right when they order, and a text from me, so you have my number. And then the video explains how to take it. But I also say, when you get your system in, call me. If you have questions, let's go over it, because there's a difference listening to me talk here than when you have this package in front of you and like, oh, now what do I do? So then we walk through that, and like people will ask me about what they can add to their coffee, what they can add to their tea, what's going to break their fast, can they have nuts for snacks, can they do, and I answer all of that for the people who are working with me. So yeah, absolutely contact me. I like to talk to people. I really do. I'm dysfunctional in big crowds, but one-on-one, I'm pretty good. Okay, you guys, I think it's, well, nope, we've got some time. Any other questions from anybody this morning before I head out to get my life back in order? I feel like I've been absent from my own life for the past few weeks because of this move that I did here in December. And I just feel disconnected from what I'm supposed to be doing. So I need to get back. Alcohol adverse effects. So it's interesting that alcohol with insulin resistance, if you're talking about like whiskey or vodka is the one I used to drink to help keep my sugars down. They're not adding to blood sugars, but they're processed through your liver. So you're trading one thing for another. It's interesting to see that from 1980 forward, we started having this prevalence of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease starting to occur. We had more and more people with fatty liver disease that were not alcoholics. There's a high sugar that converts really quickly from alcohol, and it takes liver to process. So now your liver has become insulin resistant. You're building up fat in your liver, and you're having that fatty liver with alcohol. Now, as the blood sugars converting, you can, and I do this when we go have reward trips and when we go out and celebrate. I have a meal drink before I drink, knowing that's going to create that matrix in my gut and help slow down those alcohol sugars from getting into my system and overloading liver and spiking my insulin and all that. So it is something that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, Devago. So this is something that you'll be taking long term or until we fix our food. So if the problem is that our food has been stripped of fibers, nutrients, that's creating this sugar overload in our system, the only way to really address that is to address the fact of what's been stripped out. And this is food, not medication, but it's putting back what's been stripped out so that our body recognize the food and deal with it more properly. For the rest of life, I teach kids, if you ever get mentally coherent, you better damn well be giving me my drinks. That's the one thing they know. That I choose to be cremated. I don't want to take up space on this earth. But yeah. Jason says he chooses to stay on it. He's still going 30 away, 200 pounds lost. Man, I don't have my bell out, Jason. I haven't got that out since I moved. So ding, 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 ding. Jason is a warrior with this stuff. You guys, the difference in him, and I don't have an updated picture still, but Jason, it's crazy. I have a picture of him in a shirt where his shirt was tight and it was pulling up on his belly, and then not even a year in, he was wearing the same shirt and it was loose on him. His chin is thinned down, his face is thinned down, his pant size is, he could probably almost wrap two of his pants around. I mean, his pants around him twice after he lost his weight. To use what is it, sucralose in it. We used to use that, but we now use stevia. Sucralose is safe in small amounts. It's very safe, just like sugar is safe in small amounts. It's when they gave, look, it's was it 170 times the daily allowance of sucralose that they gave to rats in the study that people refer to to make them be sick from sucralose. So we've addressed it and we've replaced it with stevia. But let's talk about sucralose and some of those a little bit, because if you're looking at that 170 times the daily allowance, and if they say drink 8-ounce glasses of water a day for a healthy day, and multiply that by 170, you drank that much water every day for 30 days, your body's going to shut down. So it's kind of an unfair assessment, right? Anything in that high amount is going to cause problems. Yeah, yeah. Yay. And I need to update my the nutrition panels on my webpage, which is also on that link, because yes, we've moved to sucralose. It was a question I had when I started too, guys. But this is the great thing with the company. There were so many of us questioning the use of sucralose. They went out and they started working on new formulations that used stevia, but still gave us a good flavor profile. And they made the switch because people wanted it. So hypothalamus reacts to any sweet regardless of calories. So it does. So like diet sodas are actually making you more hungry for more sugar. You're not getting the sugar spike, but you're getting the release of insulin because there's something sweet to take it out. I will agree with that. But the small amounts of stevia that are in here have been shown to not spike your insulin. So it is, and this is not just a marketing company who says, oh, this is the big thing of the year, and so we're going to do this. This stuff came out over 20 years ago when nobody was talking about it because it's science-backed. So when I talked to Dr. Bickman about these two products and do they break a fast, and he's a metabolic specialist, one of the top ones in the world, and he tells me no, I'm going to go with what Dr. Bickman says, who spends his entire life studying metabolism and how to fix this insulin resistance problem. Okay, but I will agree, guys, when we're doing a ton of diet sodas and stuff, if you'll notice, and I notice it when I do diet sodas, I'm actually craving more. The mixed berry is made with stevia. So, and all the formulations for the Feel Great are moving to stevia. Okay, guys, my throat has had about all it can take this morning. I'm starting to cough way too much for my liking on this live. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. If you have questions, text me. Yeah, the mixed berry, I haven't ordered it. I need to before the end of the month. I have so much balance. I have orange, I have lime, I have crushed apple. It's great to have the change. The fiber was a big deal to me because I get down so quickly. Like my flavor choice with tea, because that is what I'm savoring. So, all right, you guys, I'll talk to you in the morning. I'm going to do some research today. I'm going to get some videos out because I haven't done videos in about 10 days. And we're going to get some knowledge out and hopefully help some more people. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.